The air over Tehran was heavy, with a tension you could almost touch. The kind of pressure that only builds right before the invisible world of intelligence is violently dragged into the light. For decades, Mossad, Israel's elite intelligence agency, operated in the shadows like a ghost. They cultivated assets, ran daring clandestine ops, and manipulated global narratives to keep their image untouchable. They were the unseen hand, the gold standard of espionage. But beneath that myth lay a structure of overconfidence. And by late 2022, that structure didn't just crack. It shattered. Welcome to the Digital Sleuth. Today, we are peeling back the curtain on one of the most significant intelligence collapses in modern history. We are going deep into the silent war between Iran and Mossad, a conflict that has evolved from poison-tipped umbrellas to lines of malicious code and digital honey traps. In this cybercrime documentary, we are not just looking at spies in trench coats. We are looking at how a superpower of intelligence was undone by the very tools it used to dominate. The internet, social media, and the digital footprint we all leave behind. Was this a story of brilliant counterintelligence, or a cautionary tale about what happens when arrogance meets an evolving digital battlefield? Stay tuned, because the hunter is about to become the hunted. To understand the collapse of 2022, we have to look at how the game changed. Since the 1979 revolution, Iran has been Mossad's obsession. For years, the headlines were filled with their greatest hits. The Stuxnet virus that melted Iranian centrifuges and high-profile assassinations, the Western media glorified them as unstoppable. But behind the scenes, Mossad was evolving into something else. They began relying on a massive, covert web inside Iran, a network of informants, smugglers, and dual nationals. To manage this at scale, they moved their recruitment to the digital sphere. Imagine you are a high-level engineer or a logistics handler in Tehran. You get a notification on LinkedIn. It is a recruiter from a European NGO or a prestigious research foundation. They offer you a remote consulting gig. Well paid, professional, and seemingly harmless. This is the spot and assess phase of the intelligence cycle, and it has become a cornerstone of modern cybercrime. These were not just random messages. They were highly targeted phishing attacks. Mossad handlers would use cybersocial engineering to build rapport, sometimes for months. Before ever asking for a single piece of classified data, they used encrypted messengers like Signal, VPN-based relay points, and even cryptocurrency to pay their assets. On paper, it was a ghost network, but in reality, they were building a digital skeleton, a trail of metadata that they believed was hidden. They thought their encryption was a shield. They did not realize it was actually a breadcrumb trail. While Mossad was expanding its web, Iran's Ministry of Intelligence, the MOI, and the IRGC were playing a much longer, more patient game. They were not just looking for spies. They were mapping the mechanics of the hunt. By 2021, Iranian counterintelligence had undergone a massive digital transformation. They stopped trying to brute force the content of encrypted messages and started focusing on the metadata. Every time an asset in Tehran connected to a secure server in the Caucasus or Western Europe, they left a pulse. Iranian units used advanced digital forensics to track these pulses, cross-referencing travel records with social media activity to identify a recurring rhythm in how Mossad handlers interacted with their targets. Then came the turn. Iranian agents started identifying individuals who had been approached by these fake recruiters. Instead of arresting them immediately, they flipped them. They turned these assets into double agents. Suddenly, Mossad was not getting intel. They were being fed a slow poison of disinformation. They were being led into traps they could not see because they were blinded by their own tech-driven overconfidence. By 2022, the trap was ready. In a series of coordinated raids across cities like Tabriz and Shiraz, Iran dismantled dozens of cells. They seized miniature transmitters, encrypted laptops, and evidence of sabotage plans. The untouchable image was gone. The hunter had become the hunted. This is not just a story about governments. The methods used in this intelligence war are identical to the ones we see in global cybercrime syndicates today. We have seen similar internet mysteries unfold on the dark web, where intelligence agencies and criminal syndicates often share the same digital playground. In fact, many of the tools used for state-level espionage, like advanced phishing kits, eventually trickle down to common fraudsters. Think about the Contagious Interview campaign. It was a North Korean-linked operation that used fake LinkedIn job offers to trick developers into installing malware. It is the exact same playbook. The dark web has become a clearinghouse for this kind of human cyber exploitation. You have phishing-as-a-service toolkits like Rockstar 2FA that allow even amateur criminals to bypass two-factor authentication. In the intelligence world, a compromised asset might lose their life. In your world, a compromised account could mean the loss of your life savings. The mechanics of fraud are consistent. The hook, the grooming, and the payload. Whether it is a spy agency or a scammer in a basement, the goal is the same: control. So, how do we protect ourselves in an age where the masks are thinner than ever? Whether you are a government contractor or just someone looking for work on LinkedIn, you need a defense strategy. First, treat unsolicited as unsafe. If a recruiter reaches out and immediately pushes you to move the conversation to Telegram or WhatsApp, that is a massive red flag. Always verify the individual through official company channels. Second, use hardware-based 2FA. Software-based codes sent via SMS can be intercepted. If you are handling sensitive information, invest in a physical security key, like a YubiKey. It is much harder for a remote hacker to phish a physical device that must be plugged into your machine. Third, the resume trap. Never download a document from a stranger without scanning it. Use a sandbox environment, a secure, isolated part of your computer, to open attachments. Modern malware can be hidden in a simple PDF. Finally, report. Do not just delete. When you report a phishing attempt, you provide the data points needed to map these criminal networks. Your report could be the piece of the puzzle that takes down a larger infrastructure. The collapse of Mossad's network in Iran was not just an operational failure, it was the end of a decades-old illusion. It proved that in the digital age, no one is untouchable. Arrogance is a vulnerability, and silence is often the most powerful strategy. The war of shadows continues. But the battlefield has shifted to the devices in our pockets and the profiles we build online. The hunter is always watching. But now, the world is learning to look back. The story of 2022 to 2023 serves as a reminder. Trust is the most fragile commodity in the digital world. Once it is broken, no amount of encryption can fix it. If you found this deep dive into the world of cyber espionage and state-level crime fascinating, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We have more investigations on the way, exploring the hidden corners of the web that most people are afraid to look at. Keep your data encrypted, your passwords strong, and your eyes open. I am the Digital Sleuth, and I will see you in the next investigation.